Hey everyone, welcome to Cinema Safari. Today we're talking about the live-action Moana.
You're welcome, and thank you.
So Moana is the live-action adaptation of the hit Disney animated film of the same name that came out only 10 years ago, so very recent. And a lot to talk about with it, so let's dive right in with Moana. So in Moana, it was directed by Thomas Kail in his feature directorial debut. He's known more for directing theatrical productions, like live theater. So definitely a different pace for him. And getting to do a big budget Disney film is pretty cool for your first feature film as a director, I think. So pretty cool with that. So in the film, we see Dwayne Johnson reprise his role as Maui that he originated the voice for in the animated films. And Catherine Lagaya takes over the title role of Moana from Ali'i Cravalho, who voiced Moana in many different media things throughout the Moana franchise and video games, stuff like that. So she originated the role of Moana. Catherine Lagaya takes over the live action duties of the character, and a lot of praise for her in the film. A lot of people are saying that her performance in the film, or her portrayal of Moana, her take on the character, is definitely one of the highlights of the film. And the cool thing I think about Ali'i Cravalho also was an executive producer on this live action film, but she also talked a lot with Catherine. They had a lot of conversations about the character. Ali'i told Catherine advised her make it your own and stuff like that. But they had a lot of talks with each other, a lot of support between the two of them, which I thought was really cool. And they also performed a song together for the movie, which is pretty cool. The Rock reprised his role as Maui after voicing the character in the animated films. Definitely a lot of interesting reactions to seeing him in the film. A lot of people kind of criticized his look in the film. Pretty sure he was wearing a bodysuit, which was kind of weird. It was definitely noticeable. And this was before The Rock kind of started to beef down, or whatever you would say, muscle-wise. So I don't know if he really needed one in the film. Or they could have even got a different actor who looked more like Maui without having to do all that. But the character does mean a lot to The Rock. He's talked a lot about it, a lot of how he connects with the character, how it reminds him of his, I think, father or grandfather. So he definitely has a deep connection to the character, which I think is pretty cool. So getting to do that in live action after the first voicing the character, that part is definitely pretty special to hear about. Overall, the film, honestly, before I saw the film, we all knew it was probably going to be pretty close to the original, if not the same, shot for shot, and it did end up being basically a shot for shot of the animated film. Before I watched it, I did end up reading a couple comments or reviews, and pretty much all of them were saying it's a shot for shot, didn't need to be made, especially so soon after. It's only been 10 years since the first animated film came out, so why did they make it opposed to like maybe adapting a different film that's a little older, stuff like that. So those reviews are definitely, I think, very credible. I agree with them. I don't think it really needed to be made, especially since it is basically shot for shot the original. It kind of brings me back to the Lion King that came out in, I think, 2016 or 17. Which people say it was an exact shot for shot of the animated Lion King, but it actually did have at least one scene that might have been different. So it actually wasn't a shot for shot for the Lion King. But going back to Moana, this actually was basically. I did watch the animated film like a couple of days after I watched the live action one, and from what I could tell, at least, it was exactly shot for shot. I didn't see any differences at all. So in that sense, especially after so recently having the animated film come out, did it really need to be made, especially since it is shot for shot? No. I feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, if you're gonna adapt an animated film into live action, as an audience member, like, you do want them to be faithful to the source material that is so beloved, because the original Moana is very good. I love it. Even Moana 2, I enjoyed. I didn't think it was as good as the first one, but it definitely had its moments. It had some great songs to it, and it still was a pretty good film. But the original Moana was definitely a great film, very strong fan base. The character in general, Moana, a lot of like little girls look up to, especially in that culture, which is great. But having it be so soon, having it be shot for shot, and going back to like the double-edged sword thing, yes, you want it to be faithful to the original material, but at the same time, it might be kind of nice to have like not just exact shot for shot, have a little like additional scenes in there. And they did unlike Lion King, Moana, there were I think Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote, I don't know if he wrote all of them, but there were a couple songs that were written specifically for the live action movie. So there were a couple like songs that were added, but like scene-wise, visually, everything was basically the same. So it would have been nice, I guess, to have a little difference in there, but at the same time, they did stay truthful to the original material that they were adapting. So that's why I say double-edged sword, because they did stay truthful to the original, but at the same time, it just felt too familiar. Was it a bad film? Honestly, no. I think like audiences, people that are watching it, like its opening weekend, it definitely underperformed at the box office, especially for having such a high budget. And also, I'm not like exactly sure why the budget was so drastically high, because like a lot of the visuals in the film weren't amazing, especially for the high budget that it had. A lot of it looked pretty cool, but there were definitely a couple parts that definitely could have been worked on a little more, especially for the high budget. But having kind of underperformed in its opening weekend, people who have watched it to this point, most of them are actually enjoying it. So like it is a good film. I think a lot of the like negative aspects of it are that it is shot for shot the original. It came out so soon after the original. It's only been 10 years, as opposed to like The Lion King was like a 20-year gap. Snow White, which was not well received, but that was still like 8 70, 80 years after the original film came out. Cinderella back in 2015. Having that much of a gap is definitely a different reaction than this short of a gap. And I think that's where a lot of the negativity comes from. But if you watch the film, yes, it is shot for shot, but at the same time, it's still, the story's still good because it's, the same exact story. It's just in live action now. So watching it from that aspect, I didn't have any problems with it. I enjoyed it. All the music was great. Some of the songs were a little different variations. Like all the words and music were the same, but like they were performed a little differently from the animated to the live action version. Like with You're Welcome, The Rock did perform it a little differently than he did with the animated film. So there, in that sense, there were some differences, but it was still an enjoyable film. Being the same as the original film, I still enjoyed it. I liked it. I would recommend it. Honestly, I think that people will enjoy it. If they did enjoy the original, I don't see why they wouldn't enjoy the live action. And like I said, I think a lot of the negative response to the film is the fact that, like I said, and repeating this, it has come out so soon, and it is shot for shot. Like, there's nothing new to it. But also, a lot of the live action Disney films that they've been making haven't been super well received, especially the recent ones. So, I think that also might be affecting it negatively as well. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it. Was it my favorite film of the year? Honestly, it's definitely ranked higher probably than some other films I've seen this year. Definitely not the best film I've seen this year, but I thought a lot of the performances were great, a lot of the songs were great, great casting choices. Catherine, like I said, great job in the title role of Moana. Hey Hey, of course, best chicken in the movies. Yeah, so I would definitely recommend it to anyone who enjoyed the original. I think they will definitely enjoy this. So with that being said, we will be wrapping up today's episode. So Moana, I would recommend it. I think that people will enjoy it if they watch it. A lot of people who have watched it are enjoying it. It's just, not getting the best initial response based on variation of different things that we talked about today. Next episode, we will be talking about The Odyssey, which is probably one of the most anticipated films of definitely the summer and one of the biggest films probably for the year. So very excited to talk about that, very excited to watch that. And yeah, that's going to be a big episode. So it's going to be probably 2 weeks from now. But yeah, we're excited for that, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.